Two of the best heavyweight boxers on the planet, both undefeated, fighting for a chance for an heavyweight title shot. Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce, and this is my fight analysis. Let's go. What happened yesterday has been without any doubt one of the best fights in 2020. Two of the top boxers in the world went to war in London. Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce. But who are these fighters? First of all, let's start with Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois is only 23 years old. He was actually born in 1997 and turned professional in 2017. 15 fights, 14 knockouts. Nickname, Dynamite. Dynamite Dubois. This is a guy that, it's a power puncher. In boxing, you don't get paid for overtime. And this is a real example of that because he just looks for knockouts in the early round. And he does whatever it takes to knock guys out early, okay? On the other hand, you actually have Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce has a pretty interesting story because he turned pro in 2017 exactly as Daniel Dubois. The only problem is that he's actually 35. So it's actually 12 years older than Dubois. He's kind of a later starter, but has one thing on his side, that is his amateur pedigree, okay? When he was an amateur, he fought, I think, over 40 fights with an excellent record, and he's a silver medalist in 2016 Olympics. So Joe Joyce has a lot of experience, and that experience was in the Olympics, okay? Now, let's think about fighting style, because the fighting style are completely different, okay? Dubois uses his power and his energy to knock guys out, okay? So he's actually a guy that uses a lot of energy. So he gives all he got in the early round, and his aim is just one, to knock the guy out. On the other hand, we have Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is a guy probably unlike anyone I've ever seen because he cannot fight 12 rounds. He can fight 24 if he wants to because he fights at the same pace every single round. And he's not an energy machine because he stores his energy. His style is not so much attacking and knocking guys out, but he's actually making guys tired, keeping them at the distance with his jab because he's very tall, so he just jabs the guys out. And then, after round 5 or 6, when the other guy gets tired, then it's time for Joe Joyce to shine because the guy never got tired. Yesterday, he looked like, he could have fought for another 12 rounds if he wanted. I'm amazed how he does it. And that's actually why the two fighting styles, they played a huge role in yesterday's fight, okay? So there were lots of people that said, okay, if this fight goes past 5 rounds, it's time for Joe Joyce to win because Dubois is going to give everything in the early round to knock him out. He's going to get tired. So if he doesn't knock out Joe Joyce in the early round, then, it's time for Joe Joyce to knock him out. That's exactly what happened. And what is at stake for the guy if they don't win? Dubois has already proved himself, okay? He's 23 years old. Having a fight of this magnitude is, without any doubt, the best heavyweight prospect of this era. And doesn't matter if he win or lose, he can always get back up. He can take 2 years off if he wants, and he's going to be fine. The problem was actually for Joe Joyce. Okay, Joe Joyce is 35. He turned pro very late. So father time is undefeated, as we know, and time for him is running out. So if he loses, I don't think he's, I don't think he's ever going to get a title shot again. So, in this case, Joe Joyce has more at stake than Dubois. And, we saw yesterday what happened. So now, how about the fight? The fight was a very interesting fight. It lasted actually 9 rounds. We have actually, in the first round, Joe Joyce just comes out. Everything as predicted, actually. Dubois tried actually to attack Joe Joyce, to study Joe Joyce in the first round. But Joe Joyce really jabbed Dubois away. And what happened is that he put Dubois on his back foot. Probably the first time in his career, Dubois was on the back foot. And he was actually trying to attack, but he was a bit scared of getting hit. So Dubois stayed actually at distance from Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce dominated the round with the jab, okay? Then at the second round, What happened was a change of pace. I think Dubois listened to what his corner told him. And so, no, Joe Joyce, always the same. A lot of jabs, no power punches whatsoever, just managed to store his energy, not to get tired. So he was constantly jabbing Dubois away. But however, Dubois didn't stay on the back foot. He just kept attacking. What this implies was that he actually had to, skip his jab, dodge Joe Joyce's jab, and try actually to hit him with power punches. Okay? And this sometimes happens. Sometimes Dubois throws some power punches at Joe Joyce, but he was not really good at dodging the jab. Okay? He was constantly getting hit by Joe Joyce's jab, and he always kept coming forward. Just remind, guys, this is a guy that doesn't know his limits because he has never been tested. He's so talented that he just knocked out every opponent that was on his way, and he jumped level with Joe Joyce. So he didn't know his limit, okay? So he just kept coming and kept coming. And so from round 2 to round 9, every round was exactly the same. Dubois coming and giving some heavy shot to Joe Joyce. And I mean, my kudos to Joe Joyce. I mean, he got kind of very good chin. He could hold it. But what happened is that Joe Joyce just kept jabbing, and Dubois was just jabbing, was just getting the jab. And so he jabbed actually on the left eye. Left eye of Dubois started to swell on the 3rd round. And I mean, Joe Joyce kept hitting on it from round 3, round 4, round 5. And every time the eye got more swollen every time. And at the end, we were at round 8 that I don't know how many punches Dubois took because he was completely close. I mean, if you see a scene from, Creed 2 with Sylvester Stallone, you see that eye was pretty much the same. And so by round 9, actually, Dubois just couldn't see out of one eye. Probably was in a lot of pain. It was the first time that he has been in that situation in his life, and he didn't really know what to do. Did he want it enough? I don't know. So what happened is that at the round 9, a knockout like nothing I've ever seen. I think they were fighting, and Joe Joyce just, I think, slightly touched with a jab. Dubois, it wasn't even a full jab, it's just slightly touched. And you see actually Dubois going down to his knees, to the floor, intentionally. It was not a knockout, he went down to his knees intentionally. The referee started the counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Dubois didn't get up, and Joe Joyce won. It was not that punch at the 9th round, that punch that pretty much just almost missed Dubois. They were all the punches aimed exactly at the same target that he threw for him 6th round. That's what he did. One thing, done very well, repeated over time. Few people are scared about the jab because it's not a power punch. And I agree. But when you sum all the jab that Dubois got during the course of the match, you see that they have a huge power. And Joe Joyce just wasn't tired. I mean, he could have fought another 12 rounds if he wanted. So yeah, and actually Joe Joyce won deservedly. I'm very happy because he's at a stage now that if he didn't win, he would have faced with severe consequences. He probably would never have been able to have a title shot again, but now he does. And I think he went the way he was supposed to go, because for Dubois, honestly, this loss was only a win, because to be 23 and to arrive where he has arrived is just such a huge achievement. And I mean, my kudos to Dubois. But I mean, Joe Joyce, I look forward. Now, he said he wants Usyk. Let's see how it goes. But I mean, we now got probably the 4th or 5th ranked heavyweight on the planet. That is Joe Joyce. And I look forward to keep covering boxing with you guys. And I thank you for your support. Bye.